Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
If you would please join us from praise and worship. Awake, O Israel, put off thy slumber, and the truth shall set you free. For out of Zion comes thy deliverer in the year of Jubilee. Hallelujah.
Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, praise Yahweh. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise Yahweh.
For in the furnace of much affliction I have chosen thee, behold, and so for iron I'll give thee silver, and for brass I'll give thee gold. Oh, hallelujah.
Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Oh, praise Yahweh. Oh, hallelujah.
Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise Yahweh.
Thou art my chosen, for I have sought thee. Thou art driven on my head, and I will gather all those I've scattered. They shall come back to their land. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh, praise Yahweh. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise Yahweh. Awake, O Israel, put off thy slumber, and the truth shall set you free. For out of Zion comes thy deliverer in the year of Jubilee. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh, praise Yahweh. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise Yahweh. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh, praise Yahweh. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise Yahweh. Hallelujah. Praise Yahweh. Oh, hallelujah. Praise Yahweh. Waken in our hearts holy song, and remove the tears that do not belong in the eyes of the children that long for you, whose every life's breath is a cry for your love. Waken in our hearts holy song, and remove the tears that do not belong in the eyes of the children that thirst for you, whose every life's breath is a drink of your love. and remove the tears that do not belong in the eyes of the children that do for you, whose every life's breath is a deed of your love. Waken in our hearts holy song, and remove the tears that do not belong in the eyes of the children that feel for you, whose every life's breath is a feeling of your love. Waken in our hearts holy song, and remove the tears that do not belong in the eyes of the children that think about you, whose every life's breath is a thought of your love. Waken in our hearts holy song, and remove the tears that do not belong in the eyes of the children that live for you, whose every life's breath is life of your love. Waken in our hearts holy song, and remove the tears that do not belong in the eyes of the children that die for you, whose every life's breath is death for your love. Waken in our hearts holy song, and remove the tears that do not belong in the eyes of the children that long for you, whose every life's breath is a cry for your love. Adonai, Adonai,
Hashemayim. Shamayim, Adonai, Adonenu, Ma'adir Shimcha, Mikol Haaretz, Asher Tinahoka, Al Hashamayim. Shalom, shalom, Jerusalem. Peace be to you. When Messiah comes to take us home, may his praise be found in you. Pray for peace, Jerusalem, city of our Yah. Their salvation was poured out for you. The atoning of Yahweh. Once your streets were filled with joy, branches raised up high, shouting, blessed be the Holy One, Yeshua Adonai. Shalom, shalom, Jerusalem. Peace be to you. When Messiah comes to take us home, may his praise be found in you. Israel, Belahed, Ephraim, my son, how my heart would thrill to hear you say, Messiah has come. Oh, my brothers, hear these words. May they pierce your soul. Turn again to worship Adonai. Mashiach you will know. Shalom, shalom, Jerusalem. Peace be to you.
before his army. Can you hear him? Yahweh utters his voice before his army. Blow the trumpet in Zion, Zion. Sound the alarm on my holy mountain. Blow the trumpet in Zion, Zion. Sound the alarm. Blow the trumpet in Zion, Zion. Sound the alarm on my holy mountain. Blow the trumpet in Zion, Zion. Sound the alarm. Blow the trumpet in Zion, Zion. Sound the alarm on my holy mountain. Blow the trumpet in Zion, Zion. Sound the alarm. Sound the alarm. Sound the alarm. If you would please join us for the Veshamru and then the Matovu. Veshamru B'nai Israel Hashabat Lasod Hashabat Lagara Tambari Olam. Veshamru B'nai Israel Hashabat Lasod Hashabat Lagara Tambari Olam. B'nai Israel Otile Olam Otile Olam. Vishamru B'nai Israel Hashabat Lasod Hashabat Lador Tamari Olam. Kishe Yamlim Asaya Olam and Hashemayim Ve'et Haaretz. Vishamru B'nai Israel Hashabat Lasod Hashabat Lador Tamari Olam. Uvayom Hashvayim Uvayom Hashvayim Shavat Vayinavash Shavat Vayinavash. Vishamru B'nai Israel Hashabat Lasod Hashabat Lador Tamari Olam. Vishamru B'nai Israel Hashabat Lasod Hashabat Lador Tamari Olam. Matovu Ohaleka Yaakov Mishkeino Teka Israel. Matovu Ohaleka Yaakov Mishkeino Teka Israel.
How goodly are your tents, O Yaakov, your dwelling places of Israel. As for me, through your abundant kindness, I will prosper your house. I will prostrate myself toward your holy sanctuary in awe of you. O Yahovah, I love the house where you dwell, and the place where your glory resides. I shall prostrate myself and bow. I shall kneel before Yahovah my Maker. As for me, may salvation in Messiah Yeshua. Amen.
You may be seated.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Hi. Okay. The BHAR service, our goal is to fulfill our call to guard the commandments of Torah and to have the testimony that Messiah Yehoshua is the Redeemer of Israel. You'll join me for counting the Omer. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvoto v'tzivanu al sivrat ha'chaim. Blessed are you, Yehovah our Elohim, King of the universe, who has sanctified us by your commandments and commanded us to count the days. Today is the 5th complete Sabbath of counting 7 complete Sabbaths. Blessed is he. Blessed is he, our Elohim, who created us for his glory, separated us from those who stray, gave us the Torah of truth, and implanted eternal life within us through Messiah Yehoshua. May he open our hearts through his Torah, and place within our heart love and awe of him, that we may do his will and serve him wholeheartedly, so that we do not struggle in vain nor produce futility. May it be your will, Yehovah, Elohim of our forefathers, that we observe your decrees in this world, and merit that we live and see and inherit goodness and blessing in the years of the Messianic era and for life in the world to come. Let my soul sing to you and not be silent, Yehovah, my Elohim. Forever will I thank you. Blessed is the man who trusts in Yehovah, then Yehovah will be his security. Trust in Yehovah forever, for in Elohim, Yehovah is the strength of the worlds. Those knowing your name will trust in you, and you do not forsake those who seek you, Yehovah. Yehovah desired for the sake of his righteousness to make the Torah great and glorious. Tehillim 47. Oh, clap your hands, all you peoples. Shout to Elohim with a voice of singing. For Yehovah Most High is awesome, a great sovereign over all the earth. He subdues peoples under his and nations under our feet. He chooses our inheritance for us, the excellence of Yaakov whom he loves. Elohim shall go up with a shout, Yehovah with the voice of a shofar. Sing praises to Elohim, praises. Sing praises to our sovereign, sing praises. For Elohim is sovereign of all the earth. Sing praises with understanding. Elohim shall reign over the nations. Elohim shall sit on his set-apart throne. Nobles of people shall be gathered together, the people of Elohim of Avraham. For the shields of the earth for the shields of the earth belong to him. He shall be greatly exalted. Amen. The Barku. Bless Yehovah, the blessed one. Bless Yehovah, the blessed one. Turn. Baruchu et Yehovah Hambarak, Baruch Yehovah Hambarak Leolam Bayed. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shall you labor, do all your work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of Yehovah your Elohim. In it you shall not do any work. In 6 days Yehovah made heaven and earth, the seas and all that is in them, and blessed the Sabbath day. That is why Yehovah blessed the Sabbath day. Speak also unto the children of Israel, saying, Above all my Sabbaths you shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am Yehovah, who sanctifies you. You do not back your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my set-apart day, and shall call the Sabbath a delight, and shall Yehovah esteemed, and shall esteem it, not doing your own pleasure, nor speaking your own words. Then you shall delight yourself in Yehovah, and I shall cause you to ride on the heights of the earth, and feed you with the inheritance of Yaakov your father. The mouth of Yehovah has spoken. Blessing of our children.
not what I meant. Stand up.
All right, blessing over our sons. Yisimcha Elohim Kephraim Vechim Nase. May Elohim make you as Ephraim and Manasseh. And over our daughters. Yisimech Elohim Kesarah Rivcha Racha Valeah. May Elohim make you as Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. Father, open their eyes that they may see wonders from your Torah. Listen, children, to your father's instructions, and do not forsake your mother's teaching, for they are a fair wreath on your head and chains to adorn your neck. For I know the plans I have for you, declares Jehovah, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Children, may you flee the evil desires of youth and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call on Jehovah out of a pure heart. Finally, children, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things to protect your mind and soul from Hasatan, that you may be blessed beyond measure. Sons, may you grow to be men of righteousness, like trees whose roots run deep in life, giving water. May you be in the Torah of Jehovah. Daughters, may you come to be courageous women and capable wives whose values are worth far beyond rubies, guiding those in your care and spirit and Torah. Amen. You felt the blessing. She felt it. You will please stand for the Messiah prayer. Blessed are you, Yehovah, who has given us the way of salvation in Messiah Yehoshua. He walked among us filled with your spirit, the only one who ever fulfilled your Torah perfectly. He healed the sick and raised the dead. The multitudes of our people sought his touch. He taught as no other man taught, bringing forth the treasures of the Torah with authority. How the children sought him, the lepers he touched and made clean. How the despised and the outcast found love and release from their sin. How the hypocrites feared him whose words uncovered their sin. Despised and rejected, acquainted with grief, he bore the sins of Israel. All of us, like sheep, went astray, turned everyone to his own ways. Our iniquities were laid upon our king. The sins of the world became his burden to bear. He rose from the dead and opened the way to life everlasting. Praise be to his name. We are in him, his spirit empowers. New life is ours with joy and peace. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu devar Yeshua b'Mashiach Yehoshua. Amen. Blessed are you, Yehovah our Elohim, King of the universe, who has given us the way of salvation in Messiah Yehoshua. Amen. The blessing of the Shema. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer o uvarei choshe oseh shalom uvarei ra. Blessed are you, Yehovah our Elohim, King of the universe, who forms light and creates darkness, makes peace and creates evil.
Shema Yisrael, Yehovah Eloheinu, Yehovah Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam. Hear Israel, Yehovah Eloheinu, Yehovah is one.
Blessed is the name of his glorious kingdom for all eternity. Vahata et Yehovah Elohecha v'kol lavacha uv'kol nafshecha uv'kol mehodecha. Vahayu hadavarim ha'elet asher anochi hayom al levaveka Shinatam Rabaneka, Shinatam Shiftika, Bevteka, Uvletecha Vaderek, Ushateka Ukumeka, Uchartam Leot al Yadeka, Vahayud Latodafo Bainaneka, Uchatam al Mazuto Beteka Uvishabracha.
And you shall love
God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And have these words which I command you this day be upon your heart. And you shall teach them diligently and speak them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way,
when you're tired of my rest.
you shall bind them for a sign upon your head,
and let them be
Friend in the eyes.
of your house and upon your head.
Okay.
And you shall
As I say, Amen.
You may be seated. This is the Torah service. There is to be one Torah for the native born and for the stranger who sojourns among you. Join me in the Ein Kamocha. Ein Kamocha v'Ein Yehovah b'Ein Kemashecha Machucha Machu Kol Olamin Umeshachtecha Bechol Dor Vador Yehovah Melech Yehovah Malach Yehovah Yimlo Leolam Vayet Yehovah Yoslemo Yitein Yehovah Yivarech Emo Shalom. There is none like you among the gods, Jehovah, and there is nothing like your works. Your kingdom is a kingdom throughout all generations, and your dominion is forever. Yehovah reigns, Yehovah has reigned, Yehovah will reign forever and ever. Yehovah will give strength to his people, Yehovah will bless his people with peace. Join me on the Bahi bin Soharon. Bahi bin Soharon, Beyomer Moshe, Kuma Yehovah, Veyafusu oivecha, Veyanusu mesanecha, Mepanecha, Ki Mision Tesei Torah, Ki Mision Tesei Torah, Udevar Yehovah, Niarushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah HaTorah, Baruch Shenatan Torah HaTorah, Le'amo Yisrael, Biyadu Shuato. When the ark will travel, Moshe will say, Arise, Jehovah, and let your enemies be scattered, and let those who hate you flee from you. For the Torah will go forth from Zion, and the words of Jehovah from Jerusalem. Blessed is he who gave the Torah to his people Israel in his holiness. Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila, Benishmeha, Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila, Hava, Nagila, Benishmeha, Hava, Neranina, Hava, Neranina, Hava, Neranina, Benishmeha, Hava, Neranina, Hava, Neranina, Hava, Neranina, Benishmeha. May the Father of compassion have mercy on the nation that is born by him, and may he remember the covenant of the spiritually mighty. May he rescue our souls from the bad times, and upright the evil inclination to live those born by him. Graciously make us an eternal remnant, and fulfill our requests in good measure for salvation and mercy. May he help, shield, and save all who take refuge in him. Now let us respond. Amen. All of you ascribe greatness to our Elohim, and give honor to the Torah. Arise, Bill ben Abraham, an Israelite, and come to the Bima to read from the Torah. Blessed is he who gave the Torah to his people Israel in his holiness. Baruch hu et Yehovah HaMorach. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar barku במקום העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. Baruch atah Yehovah Notei HaTorah. Blessed are you, Yehovah our Elohim, King of the universe, who has chosen us from all peoples and given us his Torah. Blessed are you, Yehovah, giver of the Torah.
The reading this morning will be from BHAR, Leviticus, chapter 25, verses 39 through 55. And the Maftir will be chapter 26, 1 through 2. And when your brother who dwells by you becomes poor and sells himself to you, do not make him a slave, do not make him serve as a slave. but as a hired servant. As a settler he is with you, and serves you until the year of Yobel. And then he shall leave you, he and his children with him, and shall return to his own clan, even return to the possessions of his fathers. For they are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Mizraim. They are not sold as slaves. Do not rule over him with harshness, but you shall fear your Elohim, and your male and female slaves whom you have from the nations that are around you. From them you buy male and female slaves, and also from the sons of the strangers sojourning among you. From them you buy, and from their clans whom are with you, which they shall bring forth in the land, and they shall be your property. And you shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them as a possession. They are your slaves for all time. But over your brothers, the children of Israel, you do not rule with harshness over one another. Now, when a sojourner or a settler with you becomes rich, and your brother with him becomes poor and sells himself to the settler who sojourned with you, or to a member of the sojourner's clan, after he has been sold, there is a right of redemption to him. One of his brothers does redeem him, or his uncle or his uncle's son does redeem him, or anyone who is close relative to him in his clan does redeem him. Or if he is able, then he shall redeem himself. And he shall reckon with him who bought him. The price of his relief shall be according to the number of years, from the year that he was sold until the year of Yobel. As the days of a hired servant, it is with him. If there are yet many years according to them, he repays the price of his redemption from the silver of his purchase. And if few years are left until the year of Yobel, then he shall reckon with him, and according to his years he repays him the price of his redemption. He is with him as a yearly hired servant, and does not rule with harshness over him before your eyes. And if he is not redeemed in these years, then he shall be released in the year of Yobel, he and his children with him, because the children of Israel are servants to me. They are my servants whom I brought out of the land of Mizraim. I am Yahovah your Elohim. And the Maftir, do not make idols for yourself, and do not set up a carved image or a pillar for yourself, and do not place a stone image in your land to bow down to it, for I am Yahovah your Elohim. Guard my Shabbats and reverence my set-apart place. I am Yahovah. Baruch atah Yahovah Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'kayeh olam natan bakatenu. Baruch atah Yahovah
Noten HaTorah.
Noten HaTorah. Amen. Blessed are you, Yahweh Elohim, King of the universe, who has given us the Torah of truth and planted eternal life in our midst. Blessed are you, Yahweh, giver of the Torah.
He who blessed our forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob, may he bless Bill ben Abraham, because he has come up to read from the Torah in honor of Yahweh and his word. As a reward for this, may the Holy One, blessed is he, protect him and rescue him from every trouble and distress, from every plague and illness, and may he send blessing and prosperity in his every endeavor, together with all Israel, his brethren. Now let us respond. Amen. If you join us for the Vesol HaTorah. Vesol HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe Livnei Bnei Israel Aper Yahovah Ve'ya Moshe. And this is the Torah that Moshe placed before the children of Israel at the command of Yehovah through Moshe's hand. Return of Yehovah to the countless thousand of Israel. Amen. You may be seated. Now I would like to call Yochanan Ben Levi to read from the Haftorah. Right on. Do you want me to do the blessing? Okay. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar bimin tovim berasav adrivrahim hanemarin be'emet. Baruch atah Yehovah Haboker baTorah u'Moshe abdo u'Misrael amo u'bimbieh hamet vazedek. Blessed are you, Yehovah our Elohim, King of the universe, who has selected good prophets and was pleased with their words which were spoken truthfully. Blessed are you, Yehovah, who chooses the Torah, your servant Moshe, your people Israel, and prophets of truth and righteousness.
Thank you. We're reading today from Jeremiah chapter 32, verses 6 through 27. And Jeremiah said, the word of Yehovah came to me, saying, See, Hananel, son of Shallum, your uncle's coming to you, saying, Buy my field which is at Anathoth, for the right of redemption is yours to buy it. So Hananel, my uncle's son, came to me in the court of the guard, according to the word of Yehovah, and said to me, Please buy my field that is Anathoth, which is in the land of Benjamin, for the right of inheritance is yours, and the redemption. Buy it for yourself. And I knew that this was the word of Yehovah. And I bought the field which was at Anathoth from Hananel, my uncle's son, and weighed out to him the silver, 17 shekels of silver. And I signed the deed and sealed it, took witnesses, and weighed the silver in the scales. Then I took the deed of purchase, that which was sealed according to the commanded law, and that which was open. And I gave the deed of purchase to Baruch, son of Neriah, son of Maaseiah, in the presence of Hananel, my uncle's son, and in the presence of the witnesses who signed the deed of purchase before all the Yehudim who sat in the court of the guard. And I commanded Baruch before their eyes, saying, Thus said Yehovah of hosts, of the Elohim of Israel, Take these deeds, both this deed of purchase which is sealed, and this deed which is open, and put them in an earthen vessel, so that they remain many days. For thus said Yehovah of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, Houses and fields and vineyards shall again be brought into this land. And after I had given the deed of purchase to Baruch, son of Neriah, I prayed to Yehovah, saying, Ah, Master Yehovah, see, you have made the heavens and the earth by your great power and outstretched arm. There is no matter too hard for you, who shall live in loving commitment to thousands, and repay the crookedness of the fathers into the bosom of their children after them. The great, the mighty El, Yehovah hosts is his name. Great in counsel and mighty in work, for your eyes are open to all the ways of the sons of men, and to give everyone according to his ways and according to the fruit of his deeds. For he has set signs and wonders in the land of Mitzrayim to this day, and in Israel and among other men. And you have made yourself a name as it is this day. And you have brought your people Israel out of the hand of Mizraim, with signs and wonders, with a strong hand and an outstretched arm, and with great fearsome deeds. And you gave them this land of which you swore to their fathers to give them, a land flowing with milk and honey. And they came in and possessed it. But they did not obey your voice, and nor did they walk in your Torah. They did not do all that you commanded them to do, so you brought all this evil upon them. See the siege mounds. They have come to the city to take it. The city has been given into the hand of the Kasdim who fought against it, because of the sword and the scarcity of food and the pestilence. And what you have spoken has come about, and look, you see it. Yet you, O Master Jehovah, have said to me, buy the field for silver, and take witnesses. Although the city has been given into the hand of the Chaldean, then the word of Jehovah came to Jeremiah, saying, see, I am Jehovah, the Elohim of all flesh. Is there any matter too hard for me?
If you join me in the closing Haftorah blessing. Baruch atah Yehovah, Eloheinu melech haolam, sor kol ha'alamin, sadeh v'kol ha'darot, ha'el ha'neman, ha'omer be'oseh, ha'dabar u'kayam, shekol devarav, emet v'zedek, ne'eman, atahu Yehovah Eloheinu, v'nemarim devarecha, v'rabbecha mivarecha, akol lo yeshurikam, ki el alememan, v'rachamang ata, baruch ata Yehovah, ha'el ha'neman, bekol devarav. Blessed are you, Yehovah our Elohim, King of the universe, Rock of all eternities, faithful in all generations, who says and does, who speaks and makes it come to pass, all whose words are true and righteous. Faithful are you, Yehovah our Elohim, and faithful are your words. For not one word of yours is turned back unfulfilled, for you are the faithful El and King. Blessed are you, Yehovah, the Elohim, who is faithful in all his words. He who blessed our forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob, may he bless Jochanan ben Levi, because he has come up to read from the Haftorah. As a reward for this, may the Holy One, the Father of our Messiah, blessed is he, protect him and rescue him from every illness, and may he send blessing and success in his every endeavor, together with all Israel, his brethren. Now let us respond. Amen. Now we'd like to call Paul Ben Abraham to read from the second writings. If you please join us for the opening blessing for the second writings. Baruch atah Yehovah, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Mashiach Yehoshua, behaketuvim shel hatalmidim. Baruch atah Yehovah, Notei habricha Torah. Blessed are you, Yehovah our Elohim, King of the universe, who has given us Messiah Yehoshua and the writings of the Talmudim. Blessed are you, Yehovah, giver of the covenant of the Torah.
Our reading from Second Writings is Luke 4:16 through 21. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and according to his practice, he went into the congregation on the Sabbath and stood up to read. And the scroll of the prophet Yeshuah was handed to him. And having unrolled the scroll, he found the place where it was written, "The Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim release to the captives, and recovery of sight to the blind, to send away crushed ones with a release, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh." And having rolled up the scroll, he gave it back to the attendant and sat down. And the eyes of all in the congregation were fixed upon him. And he began to say to them, "Today, this scripture has been filled in your hearing."
Amen. The closing blessing for the second writing. Baruch atah Yehovah, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu hadavar hameh, v'chaye olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Yehovah, asher natan lanu Mashiach Yehoshua, v'hakatuvim hatalmidim. Blessed are you, Yehovah our Elohim, King of the universe, who has given us the word of truth and has planted eternal life in our midst. Blessed are you, Yehovah, who has given us Messiah and the writings of the Talmudim. He who blessed our forefathers, Abraham, Jacob, and Jacob, may he bless Paul and Abraham, because he has come up to read from the second writings in honor of Messiah and his teachings. As a reward for this, may the Holy One, the Father of our Messiah, blessed is he, protect him and rescue him from every trouble and distress, from every plague and illness, and may he send blessing and success in his every endeavor, together with all Israel his brethren. Now let us respond. Amen. Would you please stand for the sky and he as we return the Torah scroll to the ark. Sky in he lama chasikim ba v'toche hamea husha l'racheha d'cheinoa v'kol tivotecha shalom Ashivanu Yehovah Alecha Banashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. It is a tree of life to those who take hold of it.
And those who support it are praiseworthy. His ways are the ways of pleasantness, and all his paths are peace. Bring us back, Yehovah, to you, and we shall come. Renew our days as of old.
Amen.
This concludes the Torah service. You may be seated.
The battery was dying, so it's dead.
Testing, testing.
Say it like it
Thank you,
works
Moshi.
when it wants to.
Yeah. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Our Torah portion today is BHAR, and it's on the mount. And it's a beit, a hay, and a resh. And the beit usually means in. We're familiar with that with Bereshit, in the beginning. But they have it translated as on the mount. And the root word is actually a har. It's a two-letter root word, which comes from that is the three-letter, a hate, resh, resh, and it means to isolate or protrude. And we get that, first time that is used, and the waters were exceedingly mighty on the earth, and all the high mountains under all the heavens were covered. Obviously the word mountains there, and that's in Bereshit, Genesis 7:19. And then the first time the two-letter root is used is Bereshit 22:14, and Abraham called the name of the place Yehovah Yireh, as it is said to this day, on the mountain Yehovah provides. I learned that as Jehovah Jireh, but now we know the J. So, our portion starts in Vayikra, Leviticus 25. So here we go. And in verses 1 and 2, it says, now normally this portion is part of it. Yeah, it might need battery.
Blame it on the wife.
Sometimes. That's I think it's a microphone. Testing. Hello. Yeah. I think it's Yeah, I can use it. If I can find it. So we will try this one. fight it. It works so much easier. I'm going to hold it because I'm used to the other one. So, okay, so yeah. Oh, yeah. Leviticus 25 and verses 1 and 2. And Jehovah spoke to Moshe on Mount Sinai, saying, Speak to the children of Israel. All right, I guess I'm not going to hold it. Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when you come to the land which I give you, then the land shall observe its Sabbath. So I do tend to read the Septuagint as I read this. Oh, that's coming up. So the word Sabbath. We've been given the Ten Commandments. We've heard about the Sabbath. Do you guys have any clue how many times we've heard about the Sabbath up to this point? Seems like a lot, right? Sabbath or Sabbath has been referred to 22 times up till now. And this is, I just took one section that I think really gives us an important reference to the Sabbath. So this is Exodus 31. I got it at the end of it. And you speak to the children of Israel, saying, My Sabbaths you are to guard by all means, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, to know that I, Yahovah, am setting you apart. And you shall guard the Sabbath, for it is set apart to you. Everyone who profanes it shall certainly be put to death. For anyone who does work on it, that being shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days work is done, and on the seventh is a Sabbath of rest, set apart to Yahovah. Everyone doing work on the Sabbath day shall certainly be put to death. And the children of Israel shall guard the Sabbath, to perform the Sabbath throughout their generations as an everlasting covenant. Between me and the children of Israel it is a sign forever. For in 6 days Yahovah made the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. That obviously has a lot of references to Sabbath. I think it carries the importance and the weight of what the Sabbath is to the Father, and hopefully we get it in our hearts how important it is. And it's such a wonderful blessing to be able to gather together with like-minded people. It's hard being in exile, being out in the world, and being that continuous burning light for the Father all week long when we're not here. So gathering together, studying, learning about the Father is a great way to get refreshed and be able to get through another week, along with coming to midweek studies, which Julie has now prepared one for us. So you can also come midweek and you don't have to go the whole week without hearing some good nutrition through the Word. He is the bread of life. Okay, so in line 2 in the Septuagint, I thought it was really interesting. Instead of the when you come into the land, it actually says if you come into the land.
What verse is that?
Line 2, 25:2. But that's the Septuagint. So I don't know. I want to do some more studying in history on the two textual families from the Masoretic text and the Septuagint, which was already comprised. Supposedly the Masoretic text had a textual family that was comprised to the Masoretic text, but this was already translated that we know of, about 250 BC. This would have been the scriptures that they had, would have been the Septuagint. There was no New Testament, and the Masoretic text was not compiled yet, which they were following, so they would have been following the Septuagint. Why does this reiterate that it was spoken of on the mount? And that's what it's saying there in line 1, as Yahovah spoke to Moshe on Mount Sinai, saying, so this is just to emphasize, and this is from Rashi, says that it was to teach that this law was ordained on the mountain of Mount Sinai, there with all its detail, along with all the commandments. This isn't a detail that was added in later. This was something that was detailed out then, and I think it's just to give you insight that when he was with Yahovah for those 40 days, there was a lot of insight given to Moshe. All of this stuff comes from them. Bless you, Paul. And it's all has the same equivalent, the same value. This is why we're studying the Torah, to learn this out. Verse 2 is talking to speak to the children of Israel. And this is to the Israelite, not the Gentile. So I kind of threw in some questions there. Knowing this is written to the children of Israel, how does this affect the general understanding of the Bible for the world? You know, a lot of people worship on Sunday. They call God God because it's a title, and he is God, the creator, the ruler. but this is written to the children of Yaakov, Israel, his 12 children, the tribes, the families that come through that, through Abraham, through the patriarchs. So in Matthew, would somebody like to read Matthew 15:24? And then somebody else look up Matthew 10:6. And these are the words of Yeshua. Who's got?
And he answered and said, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
So even the Messiah reiterates that he was sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And then 10:6.
But rather go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
And that's to his Talmudim. The 12 disciples were sent out to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The point being that who this is written to, it is written to our Father's family. It's an open invitation for everyone to join his family and to learn about his Torah and to be invited into the kingdom with the Messiah. What it's not is for the world to take God, decide who God is, and make up their own rules of how they want to operate under God's rules. That's the point. It's not an exclusive, it's very inclusive to everyone. Is that the right way to express that? Yeah. It includes everyone in this covenant. But the idea is he's the leader, he has the rules, and we have to follow what he says.
And when you start following it, when you come into the covenant, then you are Israel.
Exactly, yeah. And as they left Exodus, everyone was invited, and then at Mount Sinai, the rules were given to everyone that was there. Then after the Passover, when you've accepted that covenant, partaken of the Passover, you become Israel. You are as a native born. All of us here have been through a Passover, have chosen to accept this covenant, and we choose to uphold and stand by these rules. So that's our perspective when we're out there talking to the world, talking to those that aren't actually in this covenant but think they understand God, but they're going to go worship tomorrow and go out to lunch tomorrow. We can explain to them what the seventh day is, what the Sabbath is, his rest, why money is or is not handled on his set-apart day, what some of the rules are that the Father's expects, and it puts us all on the same level playing field. There's a lot of freedom in understanding and obeying these rules. It's a lot easier than the people who seem to fall in the group of those who are lawless, because that's what they advocate. There is no law, therefore you don't have to do that stuff. Well, I'm sorry, I like my Father's instructions, his Torah, and that's what I want to obey. In verse 3, it talks about the 6 years you sow your field, 6 years you prune your vineyard and gather in its fruit. And I'm just doing a little comparison. We've heard a lot about 6 days before. And I gave a couple of verses as examples. Just these cycles are taught. There's a reason cycles are used. There's a teaching method the Father is showing us, and this repetition helps. Whether it's years or whether it's days, this grouping, there's some instruction behind it. So he shows us, in 6 days Yahovah made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore Yahovah blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart. Shemoth, Exodus 20:11. And here the esteem of Yahovah dwelt on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it for 6 days. And on the seventh day he called to Moshe out of the midst of the cloud. Shemoth 24:16 and 34:21. 6 days you work, but on the seventh day you rest. In plowing time and in harvest you rest. Which is really interesting what we're getting into here with letting the land rest, the instructions to let the land rest. He's saying even in plow time and harvest, you let the land rest. Sevens, because as we turn the page and get to verse 4, but in the 7th year the land is to have a Sabbath of rest, a Sabbath to Yahovah. Do not sow your field and do not plow your vineyard. And then it goes on. Hopefully everybody studied the Parsha a little bit, and we're just kind of skimming over some of these things. Anybody saw something this week that they want to talk about, please let me know. But there's a lot of sevens in Scripture. We know it's a great number. Yeah, John?
Okay, let me ask this question. We're no longer an agricultural society.
Yes.
It's very few are in agriculture. How do we rest our land or on the 7th year? What do you do?
John's asking, I don't know if everybody here, John's asking about letting the land rest in the 7th year because of the way our society is structured nowadays. So everything I read, it really does seem to be talking about specifically in the land. You know, remember this said, when you enter the land, they're going to enter the land with Joshua coming up. The Septuagint says, if you enter the land. Before I continue, I'll let Leslie say what she has to say.
I just was adding to what you said in 25, verse 24. It says,
You jumped 20 verses?
Huh?
Yeah, go ahead.
In Leviticus 25:24, above that verse, where I'm reading here, it's talking about the land, laws of redemption for the land's not sold, beyond redemption, and it says, and provide a redemption for the land in all the land of your possession, which they, like you said, they possessed Israel. That was
Their inheritance.
right. That's
Right.
what was given to them.
Right.
So just adding to that,
Yeah.
It doesn't say.
It does help emphasize that. But yeah, so that would be now in your heart and in your practice, how do you want to apply that to where your current state is? Just applying it to the 6 days you work and the 7th day you rest is an emulation of the land. There's people who try to not grow a garden in the 7th year. There's people that try and take it as far as not getting vegetables or stuff at a store that would have been produced in the 7th year. I mean, you can really try as hard as you want to do that. And what's real interesting about this, it's real difficult because he provided for this. In the 6 years, the 6th year was to have this crop that would feed you from the end of the 6th year, sustain you for the 7th year, and the 8th year, when you planted again, had to sustain you through that year. So it didn't say to store up everything and prepare for that. It said the 6th year would provide it. So this whole scenario that he's setting up here is simply based on faith. And as we find out how well they obeyed, there were some exiles involved based on what they did and did not do. Elena?
I think there is also the prophetic component in this thing. That's not necessarily, there is a breach in the temple between the second temple and the third temple, whichever people interpret it as heavenly or on earth. The same thing, the breach in this commandment that was working for the land of Israel. But there, when it is the time of Goyim, there is nothing. Okay, we don't do it because there is no temple. We cannot physically do it. But it is a prophetic, that we need to pay attention to. We need to study because it is about the 8th millennium with our.
Yeah. Well, going back to what this says, when or if you enter the land, we know in the past it wasn't carried out correctly. But let's make this personal. How does it apply to us? With the Septuagint, if we're allowed to enter the land and we, blessed enough to have an inheritance and live there, are we going to obey? Are we going to remember what they did wrong? Are we so that's really, we can ask those questions and look at history and look at what happened, but really we need to take this to heart and understand what the Father is teaching and why. And it's really about faith, about that 6th year that's going to provide for those next years. When that 6th day comes, and Friday, which we call the preparation day, are you ready for the Sabbath? Are you ready to get through one whole day resting in the Father to go back to continue your work on the 8th day, the first day of the week again? So, there's a lot of ways to apply it and look at it, but here I brought up the 7th since we got to the 7th day. And just starting out, he rested on the 7th day. Yahovah told nobody to take that vengeance on Cain. Anybody taking vengeance, he would take vengeance on them sevenfold. The days of Lamech, which is the father of Noah, I thought was interesting. I guess I didn't pay attention to this stuff till I dig through it and look at it myself. Lived 777 years, and that's really interesting. There were 7 pairs of clean animals. There was a 7-day warning for the flood. 7 days the dove returned. 7 lambs. Wasn't that twice? No, I'm sorry. 7 lambs as a witness at Beersheba. And Yaakov serving 7 years twice for Rachel. 7 lean cows. This made me even think about Joseph, and when he was in Egypt. Here he is preparing for the years that are coming up. If he was in the land, again, we weren't told to prepare for it. We were told to have faith and trust. So this is man's way of rationale. I better save up. I better do it my power. I better have enough because this is coming and I have to get through this. Whereas if we just simply would have stuck with obedience of Father, he will provide. He says that. And just think about this entire generation, who could have survived if they would have trusted him and done what he said? If he didn't do what he said he was going to do, and they, in complete trust, did their part of the covenant, and he didn't do what he was supposed to do, they would have been wiped out. There would be no Israel. They all would have died of starvation. And so to say he's not going to uphold his bargain is a fallacy that we haven't ever put our faith in or lived out yet. Like I said, there's a lot to you just taking this personally into heart as to how to behave, how to apply this to yourself, and understanding that he will provide for us. And I think it's good. I mean, we're at this end of the time frame and can look back at those examples, but they didn't, but this didn't happen, but how do you do it? And as simple as the 6 days a week and the 7th day to rest, it's a microcosm of this macrocosm, which is even going to get larger, right? There's 6 years you work in the 7th year, and then we know something else is coming, like Leslie's question.
And then you also had the 7 years, 7 times 7 is 49. So you had the 49th year.
Bingo.
The 49th year was a Sabbath. Then you had the 50th year. So you had 2 years.
Yes.
So you're teaching everybody, every 7 years you're trusting the Father that he's going to provide enough in the 6th year. Then you got that extra little bit that's required too to get you through another year. So that's what we were just reading is in verse 21. He's saying, therefore I have commanded my blessing on you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth the crop for 3 years. Because
exactly.
They had that year, then the next year they couldn't, and then the next year they couldn't.
While stuff is growing until it produced.
Right, so they had to have enough, not just for food, something else you don't think about. They had to have enough seed left over to resow, and for their livestock, and for themselves. That's a little extra too. So it's teaching us same thing as our weekly Sabbath is training us and teaching us. He was already doing that too with the 7s to get you ready for the 2 Sabbaths back to back.
Your Mahahu in the Haftorah portion, 32:27. See, I am Yahovah, the Elohim of all flesh. Is there any matter too hard for me? I mean, that's yes, it's hard. It stretches our imagination, but he can provide. A couple of thoughts on doing that. I lost it, but we'll just move on. Maybe it'll come back to me. Verse 10. This is what Leslie was talking about. The Yovel. So this is where it was used. I started putting the verses at the end of the reading, so we'll just have to read them, but this is Shemot. And Yahovah said to Moshe, go to the people. So this is the word Yovel, which is what we knew before and know as Jubilee. In verse, she just had it, 25:10. The first use is what I'm reading here. And Yahovah said to Moshe, go to the people and set them apart today and tomorrow, and they shall wash their garments. And Yahovah said to Moshe, see, I am coming to you in the thick cloud, so that the people hear when I speak with you and believe you forever. And Moshe reported the words to the people of the words of the people to Yahovah. And Yahovah said to Moshe, go to the people and set them apart today and tomorrow. And they shall wash their garments, and shall be prepared by the 3rd day. For on the 3rd day Yahovah shall come down upon Mount Sinai before the eyes of all the people, and you shall make a border for the people all around, saying, take heed to yourselves that you do not go up to the mountain or touch the border of it. Whoever touches a mountain shall certainly be put to death. Not a hand is to touch it, but he shall certainly be stoned or shot with an arrow. Whether man or beast, he shall not live. When the Yovel sounds long, let them come near the mountain. and this is Shemot 19:10 through 13. That was the first use of the word Yovel. And then after the Torah, so when the Yovel is drawn out, they can go up the mountain, not thus can go up the mountain. So this is Strong's number H, Hebrews 31:04, and it's a ram's horn, a trumpet, or a cornet. Theological Words of the Old Testament, TWOT, defines it as a blast of a horn, continuous sound, the signal of a silver trumpet, hence the instrument itself and the festival thus introduced. Jubilee, rams, trumpet horn? Again, I stay up late doing these, so I'm not sure what a trumpet horn is, but probably trumpet horn. Let's go to Joshua 6. Is anybody interested in reading a little bit from Joshua?
Sure, if I can get there.
Okay, Leslie, jump at it.
6 what?
Just 6. Just start at 6. We're just going to skim over this low. We're going no farther than 13.
And Jericho was shut up tight because of the presence of the sons of Israel, none going out and none coming in. And Yehovah said to Yehoshua, See, I have given Jericho and its sovereign, mighty brave men, into your hand. And you shall go around the city, all the men of battle going around the city once. Do this for 6 days, and let 7 priests bear 7 shofarot of the Yovelim before the ark, and on the 7th day go around the city 7 times, while the priests blow with the shofarot. And it shall be, when they make a long blast with the horn of a yovel, and when you hear the voice of a shofar, that all the people shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall go up, every man straight before him. And Yehoshua son of Nun called the priests and said to them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 shofarot of Yovelim before the ark of Yehovah. And he said to the people, Pass over, and go around the city, and let him who is armed pass over before the ark of Yehovah. And it came to be, when Yehoshua had spoken to the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 shofarot of the Yovelim passed before Yehovah passed over and blew with the shofarot, and the ark of the covenant of Yehovah went after them. And the armed men went before the priests to blow the shofarot, and the rear guard came after the ark, going on and blowing with the shofarot. But Yehoshua had commanded the people, saying, Do not make a sound, or cause your voice to be heard, nor let any word come out of your mouth until the day I say to you, Shout, then you shall shout. And the ark of Yehovah went around the city, going around once. And they came into the camp and stayed in the camp. And Yehoshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of Yehovah. And 7 priests bearing 7 shofarot of the Yovelim before the ark of Yehovah were walking, going on, and they blew with the shofarot, and the armed men went before them. But the rear guard came after the ark of Yehovah, going on and blowing with the shofarot. Is that fine?
Yeah, so those verses there, that Yovelim plural is used 4 times, and Yovel is used once in verse 5. And it shall be, when they make a long blast with the horn of a Yovel, and when you hear the voice of the shofar. So it's just interesting that those uses for the ram's horn, the trumpet, the horn, and again, the rams, introducing the festival. It was used there in Shemot chapter 19 about the mountain, Mount Sinai. When you heard the shofar blast, it was called Yovel. And in Joshua chapter 6, it speaks of it. And then can we see a picture from these 2 events? If you kind of back up and look at what's really going on when this word is used and what's going on with the people, can anybody summarize what they see with it?
We know that the shofar, the trumpet, is supposed to be sounded as a warning or calling an assembly. Blow the shovel so that they can come to the border. That's calling an assembly, bringing everyone together.
Yeah, and again, remember, this is to the children of Israel. This is to a specific group of people who were assembled for a reason. At one point, they're at Mount Sinai, and another point, they're in Jericho. This represents liberty and freedom as a nation. You know, these people were led out of Egypt and allowed to come to the Father to hear his instructions in his Torah, which is the perfect law of liberty, which is freedom in his obedience. And also, again, as the children of Israel, it's represented as a nation of people who have to do this. As we saw in Vayikra 25:10, and you shall set the 50th year apart and proclaim release throughout all the land to all its inhabitants. It is a Yovel for you, and each of you shall return to his possession, and each of you return to his clan. So this is speaking of the liberty and freedom that's received through the Yovel Jubilee.
Question.
Yeah.
Each of you return to his possession. What is that?
Oh, I skipped this one. The Yovel?
No, the other.
All right.
When each is returned to his possession?
Because they were given inheritance, their possession is the land they were given. So at the end of the 50 years, if your land had been sold for some reason, it returns to your family. It stays within your clan.
Oh, okay.
I'll leave it alone. Okay. Apparently I skipped this one. So about the Yovel, these are the only two times the blast of the shofar is referred to in Hebrew as Yovel, literally a jubilee. And it was the 10 Commandments coming down from the mountain and the walls of Jericho coming down, again representing liberty and freedom. Is the Yovel emphasized for slaves or for everyone? When you continue reading in chapter 25, you get into the Hebrew slaves and how they have to be treated. So
It's for everyone.
I think it's a duality. I mean, it's an individual thing, but it's also as the land is given back to everyone, it's a national event also. But
As I understand it, if you have a slave for 50 years, well, then you got to release him. And if he wants to stay, you don't treat him like a slave, but as a hired servant.
I didn't go down that road, but there's some interesting things I was kind of reading about that when the phrase forever is used in the all on the ear, that it referred to the Jubilee, it referred to those 50 years. I haven't studied that out. I thought it was interesting, but I was spending time on this. So, like I said, there's a lot of ways to go when you start studying these parshas out. But this Yovel, it is associated with the freedom to start over and to move forward, like the examples on Mount Sinai and Jericho. So same thing, as a slave, you are allowed that freedom to move on. As your inheritance, the land itself is allowed that freedom to go back, to have the rest, to return to its rightful owner, its possessions. This tells us where the year begins. So who knows where the year begins, according to the Yovel?
The year begins in the spring, but they announce it back at Sukkot, correct?
Well, yeah,
Yom HaKippurim
sorry?
Oh, not the 4th.
begins on Yom HaKippurim.
Yeah, that's the verse I'm looking for. You know, I thought it'd be funner not to mark it. Yeah, on the 10th day, where does it say that? In the 7th month, on the 10th day, it's in here. In the year of this Yovel, when you sell. So it is. It speaks of on the 10th.
It's verse 9, 25:9.
And then sound a shofar sound on the 10th day of the 7th new moon on Yom HaKippurim, plural of Yom Kippur, cause a shofar to sound throughout all the land. So that is why, if you've paid attention, the first month is in the spring. It was, said this will be the first of the months for you. But the year, we changed the year in the fall. That's what it says in Scripture. That's why we do it that way. And rabbinically, they've gotten into, there's quite a few New Years in Scripture, and I haven't studied that out. But this is what this says, and this is as far as we've gotten this cycle. So we'll stick with that.
So you're saying it's not just announced then, it changes then?
Yeah, well, even us, we change, like right now we're currently at 5779, so we will change to 5780 come this fall. That's, after Yom Kippur. That's what the Orthodox do, and, they're the ones that we're keeping track for the majority of the time. But this is what gets interesting is how do you count the years? Because like Leslie brought up, so you work 6 years, the 7th year is a rest, that would be the first 7-year cycle. Then you work another 6 years, so now you've had 12 years of work, and then the 14th year is the second cycle that is 2 years of rest. So if you can kind of see the pattern there, out of 50 years, you actually work the land 42 years in labor, in the plowing, in the harvesting. The rest, you have 7 years of rest plus the 50th year. So there's in 8 years out of every 50 years the land rests. And that's where some of the counting, there's obviously a debate, people have different opinions of when you count, do you count just the 49 years? Do you count the 50th years? It got really over my head really fast when they started discussing that. So I'll let you be aware of it. You're welcome to look into it. Let me know what you think.
Isn't it funny that it winds up 8 years of rest?
I think it is. Yeah, that 8. What do we know from 8? New beginnings, new. Yeah, yeah. And Elena did the number study a while ago that was real interesting. So, you know, there's a lot of good information studying through the Hebrew, what you can bring out of that. What this cycle really teaches us is ownership. So again, this is about letting the land rest. We know they didn't do that. We know they went into exile. And this is Vayikra 25:23. And the land is not to be sold beyond reclaim, for the land is mine, for you are sojourners and settlers with me. This is obviously the Father speaking. It is his land. We are his children. We do what he says. So there's that cycle, but so it's teaching us of ownership. We do what this says because he told us this. Man doesn't own the land. Man can't tax everybody through eternity, you know. Despite what the American system says, this isn't the land of Israel. We abide by their rules right now, but when your inheritance comes, when you are part of the tribes of Israel and given an allotment, Yehovah owns the land and determines when it should change hands and when it should not. Can I have somebody else read Numbers 36? Somebody with a loud voice.
Okay. 36 what?
Just let me look. 36. Start, and I'll tell you how far to go. I think the whole thing.
Okay.
I don't think it's that long.
And the heads of the fathers of the clan of the children of Gilad, son of Machir, son of Menashe, of the clans of the sons of Joseph, came near and spoke before Moshe and before the leaders and the heads of the fathers of the children of Israel, and said, Yehovah commanded my master to give the land as an inheritance by lot to the children of Israel. And my master was commanded by Yehovah to give the inheritance of our brother Zelophehad to his daughters. Now, if they are married to any of the sons of the other tribes of the children of Israel, then their inheritance shall be taken from the inheritance of our fathers, and shall be added to the inheritance of the tribe into which they married, and taken from the lot of our inheritance. And if the Yovel of the children of Israel takes place, then their inheritance shall be added to the inheritance of the tribe into which they married, and their inheritance taken away from the inheritance of the tribe of our fathers. All that which makes sense. And Moshe commanded the children of Israel, according to the word of God, saying, what the tribe of the sons of Joseph speaks is right. This is the word which Yehovah has commanded for the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry who is good in their eyes, but let them marry only within the clan of their father's tribe. And the inheritance of the children of Israel is not to change hands from tribe to tribe, for every one of the children of Israel is to cling to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. And every daughter possessing an inheritance in any tribe of the children of Israel is to be the wife of one of the clan of her father's tribe, so that the children of Israel possess each the inheritance of his fathers. Thus the inheritance is not to change hands from one tribe to another, but every tribe of the children of Israel is to cling to its own inheritance. And Yehovah commanded Moshe, so did the daughters of Zelophehad. For Mahal.
I think that's far enough.
Thank you.
And I'll just go to 13. And these are the commands and the right rulings which Jehovah commanded the children of Israel by the hand of Moshe in the desert lanes of Moab by the Ark of Yahweh. So really Leslie had spoken of it all. These daughters who were given the inheritance, if they were to marry outside of their tribe, then when the Yovel came, that land would have been transferred. So they inquired, Moshe went to Yehovah, and Yehovah said they can marry who they want to marry, but they have to marry within their father's tribe, clan, so the inheritance does not get transferred. So when he gives out an inheritance, he meant it that way, and he's made arrangements for some issues that might arise where it stays in the way he designed it. When we look at the concept of liberty given with Yovel, for man and land, it is the freedom from man's rule to the rightful owner, Yehovah. This most natural state is in obedience to his will and desire for our existence. And you've heard me say, God becomes God when you become the person he wants you to be. And as I was thinking about that, what does that mean? To be the person he wants to be, you cannot lose sight of the fact that the value of your personhood is only in light of your value to the community of his people. You have to realize that your importance matters to the nation of Israel. Your importance matters to your tribe, to who you're with. Go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking as you were talking about the inheritance and all of that, it said that you cannot sell it beyond reclaim.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, you would not be able to sell it to a foreigner or to someone else
Exactly.
because it could not be reclaimed.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see the wisdom in that because, here in our country, they've let foreigners buy tons of land. China owns a lot of our crop growing land in
Natural
the middle of the
resources.
country, right, the natural resources, and what a problem that's going to turn out to be.
Yeah,
We
we're
can
only
see
just
it.
now becoming aware of it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can see what it's going to do. So that's part of also, as you were saying, being aware of your place in the community of brothers and not just looking out for your own welfare and
Exactly.
your own wealth.
Yeah.
Just like Japan owns a lot of the industries here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, I think this is open to interpretation. Your value to the community of his people, the community of his people. Now, you are able to decide how far that stretches. Is that every stranger and person you come in contact with? Potentially, yes. But we know, those of us here have gone through the Passover service. We have committed to this word. We're in covenant with our Father. So our commitment within these walls is stronger than what's out there. Our goals and responsibilities for what's outside of these walls changes. There's a way we treat each other and a way we hold each other accountable that is different than, we don't put that on someone who's out in the world that isn't in covenant with our Father. First, we need to just teach them our Father has a name, our Father has a covenant, he has a way for you to believe, and he wants, there's a battle for you to be part of his family. But it's by letting him be Father, he does the rules. We're in his family, we're his children. And that goes back to, I only came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The goal is, remember even in Jeremiah, that renewed covenant is made with the house of Yehudah and the house of Israel, and they shall be called the house of Israel. That is going to be the future kingdom, the house of Israel, with the nations. So there's a delineation there. There's the house of Israel, there's his people, and the nations. We're all given free will. Which party do you want to belong to? Was that just a stretch?
I was kind of like, I don't know if I have that.
Go ahead.
I was thinking about this earlier, so this kind of gets into, but I don't know if I can put it in the right words. But it's like, it's like you have your you don't have any individual importance or power of yourself, just in and of yourself, or whatever. The measure of your success or your power or your influence only through him, only in obedience to him. You can be as smart or as talented or whatever as you want to be worldly, but it doesn't matter unless you're completely obedient to him. That's where your true value comes from.
Right.
That's
Yeah. And I think it goes against what we've all been taught growing up about this special individuality. Not that we are not special or individual. It was brought up this morning. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. That doesn't diminish how important you are, but you don't focus on that. You're focused on who needs help, where are we at, how do we all get to this goal together? Again, Israel is a community of people. It's a nationhood, a kingdom of priests is what he calls us to be. It's not just you and the Father in the future kingdom. Although hopefully we all get, personal conversations, personal time. We all, in any family relationship, you love that personal time, but your family is your family. You are strong because together you all have a bond. Perkia vote, if you're not familiar with it, it's called Ethics of Our Fathers. And this quote is from that. No man is free except he who occupies himself in learning the Torah. I just thought that was a really interesting quote, and it speaks a lot. It's exactly what Daphne was saying. When you start learning about Father, when you learn his instruction, this is where true freedom comes from. You are free to now act within the will of our Father, to receive all the blessings, to receive everything he wants to bestow on you, and with that freedom, all you do is share it. And what did our Messiah do? He was granted everything, but he was a servant to everyone. So, as him as our example, that's what we need to do. We know we have this stuff. We know we have the right to eternal life. We know we have the behavior and the patterns when people are struggling, trying to assess their situation, approach them where they're at, but know our Father can do everything. But the way he does that is through his instructions, through his laws, through his teachings. That's what we can share with others. Just the other day, I was able to help someone in need, but I actually left it feeling, because it was monetarily, and I left feeling like I missed an opportunity to really speak some importance to that person, because it was a rushed moment. It was just came up really quick. It was no big deal to me. I helped them out, but I left thinking, gave them a fish, teach them to fish, Thanks for, the substance that's going to diminish in no time versus something eternal. And that's really what we possess in touch with our Father and in touch with this Torah, is that eternity that we can share with others. That's the light in this darkness of the world. That's what they're searching for. That's what they're thrill seeking for. That's what they're purchasing those large homes for. They want to feel important, but there is no importance, and there's nothing unless you're studying Torah and in the Father's favor. Shabbat Shalom. Okay, so does anyone have any? Oh, I want to bring up something really important that is really great. It's a really great teaching tool because it came from our teacher. There's now some books out, and I want the internet to see this too. This one can be found on Amazon. The correct title is In Covenant with Our Creator, A Study of Covenants and Prophecy. And this is by our rabbi, retired rabbi? I don't even like saying the first word. Rabbi Yosef Boulware, Messianic rabbi. And then this is a local copy that you can actually get, 8.5 by 11. This one comes through Amazon. $10, $8. These might be changing a little. It depends. This one depends on how large the printing process, how many books are printed as to the price. Roughly $10. It might be going up, but that cost is simply to put more money into more books, which are going to the prison ministry. There are already a bunch of books out there. That this is a very helpful tool. If you understand how Rabbi teaches, I challenge you to find something wrong with this and how it's taught. And as humble as he is, says right here, In Covenant with Our Creator should be used as a study guide and is not intended to teach someone what to believe. It is a wonderful study tool. I recommend it. So this is a local copy. This you can find on Amazon, and there's a Kindle ebook for half the price, $5. In Covenant with Our Creator. All those are available, and it's just an absolutely wonderful teaching tool. This man changes many people's lives, all because of the power of our Father and our Word, and he will never take credit for anything he does. So I'm more than happy to boast for him. So having said that, summaries, questions, comments about anything from the Torah portion?
Actually, yes, I discovered a study within this study.
Okay.
Sound the trumpet, blow the shofar. And there's right now about 28 verses, and I haven't really searched it all out.
So you're going to put the study together for us?
Yeah, but I'm not through with the other two studies I'm looking at either.
Just keep them piled up and keep working away at it. When you have time, you do it. That's the whole point. Being in Torah study is that's the greatest freedom.
It's just that this study was shown to me while studying for this study.
That's what happens.
It's
I don't like to say rabbit troll. I like to say rabbi troll.
Yeah, kept pulling me down these other rabbit
Trail.
holes.
There it is. I'm tired. Next week we have the last Torah portion of the book of Leviticus, and then we will be moving on. This is the middle portion. It's real interesting that I guess it's in the Masoretic. I'd be curious how else it plays out. Excuse me. What is it? Every fifth letter pointing towards Leviticus in Hebrew spells Torah forward. No, how? Yeah. After the book of Leviticus, the next two books, every fifth letter spelled backwards spells Torah. And then Leviticus, is it every 50th letter is Yod He Vav He? I believe something like that. It's really, man could not do what those, the hidden things that you can find in the study of it. It's just fascinating. Our Father's creativity, I like to say from a platypus to pick another animal, is just unending, and he is wondrous and miraculous, and I love being here and celebrating his glory and his esteem. Okay, so let's do the repetition of the Shema, and we can wrap up our online. Everyone? Shema. Blessing of the bread and the wine. Would anyone like to volunteer? I want Moshe to do it. Okay. And his kids. We're going to miss you all summer, so. It's so close.
Will you please join us on the blessing of the wine?
Baruch atah Yehovah, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen, Amen. Blessed are you, Yahweh Elohim, King of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine.
And over the bread.
Baruch atah Yehovah, Eloheinu melech haolam, blessed are you, Yahweh Elohim, King of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth.
And taking bread,
he gave thanks, he broke it, and gave it to them, saying, This is my body, which I give to you. Do this in remembrance of me.
Amen. Leslie, when you want to hear her.
She's not here.
I'll do it.
Is she?
No, she's not here.
Okay, would you go ahead, Paul?
I have set watchmen on your walls, O Jerusalem, all the day and all the night, continually, who are not silent. You who remember Yahweh, give yourselves no rest, and give him no rest till he establishes, until he makes Jerusalem a praise in the earth.
Amen. And Psalm 67.
Elohim does favor us and bless us, cause his face to shine upon us, Selah. For your ways be known on earth, your deliverance among all nations. Let the peoples praise you, O Elohim. Let all the people praise you.
Let the nations be glad and sing for joy, for you judge the people uprightly and lead the nations on earth. Selah. Let the peoples praise you, O Elohim. Let all the peoples praise you. The earth shall give her increase. Elohim, our own Elohim, blesses us. Elohim blesses us, and all the ends of the earth fear him. Amen. Shabbat shalom, Amen.